Hello and welcome everybody to the ESL 2019 Preseason Invitational. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful afternoon as we take a look at the last time Villanova was on stream against DePaul. While they lost the series, they put up a fight specifically in this instance. Now, though, they get to take down Butler and try and secure their spot going into playoffs. Currently 3-2 right now. They would love to have a positive record as they look at the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly. 4-2, looking at the end of the season. You may have lost to DePaul, but with DePaul looking pretty much like monsters right now.
Oh yeah.
You can't be sad with that record going into playoffs.
Yep, and right now Butler though 1-4, who would be their opponents today. Feel like this is a team that they really, if they want to even have a slight chance, they have to just sweep the rest of their season.
And pretty much for Butler, it's also playing, spoilers for some of these teams trying to make that end of the season run like Villanova. If they're able to pick up this win here, makes it so much harder for Villanova to make it through to the playoffs bracket. So we'll see how much motivation Butler has as they're going into this match.
Right, and there's also some pride on the line. I mean, when you look at how Butler performed at the end of last season, 2019 Big East, they came in third place and made playoffs. So there's got to be a little bit of clout trying to be thrown in there, trying to make it on back. We got the preseason. CeeLo's just around the corner, and you got to be trying to be one of those top teams get out of the Big East to make the CeeLo National Championships.
Yeah, and there's some people like Seton Hall that are making a really big name for themselves so far. Like they came in fourth last time, but now they're just the big dogs.
Yeah, exactly. Things flipping on their head this time around. But in case you didn't catch us last time, we have a quick little introduction for what the tournament format looks like.
The ESL Collegiate 2019 Preseason Invitational is an opportunity for players to hone their skills and develop new strategies going into the next CBall season. Players will have more chances to compete against their rivals and see their games brought to life on the big screen. The Big East Preseason Invitational starts with a round-robin stage. Each team will play all other teams during this stage, and all matches will be best of 3. Each team's record during the round-robin stage will determine who qualifies for the playoffs. The top 4 teams in the conference will meet in a single elimination bracket in the playoffs. The top 2 teams will play a best-of-5 grand finals and be crowned the champions.
Now that we have a better understanding of what's in store for us throughout the whole tournament, we do have our matches up ahead of us today. But first, we have an opportunity to take a look at the overall standings of the tournament right now. And Zyrene, you said it yourself, some new names towards the top of the list.
Yeah, they're kind of new to the top of the list, but, they are old names. We do have them. Seton Hall, 5-0 right now. Previously, they were 4th place at the end of last season. So they've just climbed their way up. But DePaul, they were the ones who were top dog there. They are knocked down to number 2.
Yeah, but actually the big surprise for me has been St. John's. They finished 5th place at the end of last season. They didn't even make playoffs last time around. And right now, still technically with Seton Hall with a few more games left to play, they could still be pushing for one of those top spots, but at least they're in the playoffs this time.
Yeah, having a very, very strong showing this time around. But again, Villanova versus Butler, this is, I don't want to say a must-win for Villanova, but a win here would feel so good as they're looking to secure that top 4 berth. But I want to give a special shout-out before we hop into the games to our partner, Grubhub. Make sure that you join in on the fun, going onto the Discord ahead of time so you can vote on what kind of delicious foods we get to eat during the cast and chat chowdown at the end of the show. I have no idea what's coming up, but I'm excited regardless. Every time it's delicious food. I feel like the fans always give us the best food.
The Big East fans are the nicest by far.
Exactly.
They don't just try to shove the spicy food out. I think you guys got ice cream last time.
I got ice cream.
You got ice cream.
It was delicious.
We got pizza earlier. Like,
well, yeah,
I feel like Twitch chat can be pretty good to us.
Sometimes.
It's a mixed bag. But Big East, always much love.
Special place in our heart, for sure. So make sure that you join in on the fun and start voting on what we get to eat for next week as well. But yeah, with that in mind, the matchup tonight, again, Villanova taking on Butler. Butler, unfortunately, not going to be able to make the playoff run this season around, or this preseason, but they do have the ability to play upset against Villanova right here tonight.
Right, and a win here over Villanova rather, would of course be against the grain of play, but a win here would be a huge confidence booster coming up to 2020. It is just around the corner. Matches matter if you want to make it to Collegiate National Championships, and they matter really soon.
Yep, and I feel like even for Butler, there may mathematically still be a way for them to qualify. They could end 3-4, and Villanova could also be 3-4, and with the tiebreaker head-to-head over them, and also if there was another team that was tied 3-4 at the same one, and they had the head-to-head over them as well, I feel like there's a way that they can still sneak in there, but this is do or die for them 100%.
Yeah, big thing there, I think, being, though, if they do lose this, if they're at least, it's out of their control. They need other things to happen. A win here, at least it keeps more within your realm of control.
Yeah,
exactly. But taking a look at the Villanova roster themselves, again, the team that has gone 3-2, hovering in that final playoff spot. Whimsical Melody, Native 192, Please Crit, Billy Toe, and Magstum on the bottom side.
And of course, Pennsylvania squad, you got a lot to live up to from the last season. 2019, they were your Big East champions, especially here with Native 192. The holdover mid laner from last time, this time is in the jungle, replacing the departure of Pixel Drum. It's got to be a big core here of the group.
Yeah, interesting to see the ranks of these players. Diamond 1, pretty high rank for Big East in general. And when you have a jungler that's that high of a rank, oftentimes you see a lot of shot calling in the early game and a lot of focus on where the jungler goes, that being where plays happen. So Zyrene, when you're looking at this specifically, what would you say your first instinct for identity, if you had to call one for the side of Villanova, would be?
Well, if you can have a carry jungler, I think that's a really good sign for a team that they want to kind of spread their advantages around. A lot of times it's like, oh, a jungler will have to go to a lane. It's a difference between a team playing around the jungler and the jungler playing around the team. I feel like you have to do step one here. Get the jungler fed, protect him as he farms or counter jungles, push your lanes, have priority lanes, and then the jungler can do his work from there. So I feel like play around the native so that he can play around you.
All right, well, we'll see if they can do just that. But let's take a look at the other team now. We got Butler's roster here. Butler, Andy at the top lane. I love this type of synergy when they change their name to match the school. And in the top lane, MGL jungle, Ice Bear mid with Mac, and Huffinator on the bot side.
Yeah, and of course, this Butler squad has been a kind of mixed bag. And like you mentioned before with the ranks, and we'll of course see some ranks here in just a second for Butler, it is an interesting point that we are getting that growth across the board. This is probably I think the highest average ELO tournament we've ever had here in the Big East. I think it's only going to keep getting bigger. And now it's more about taking all those players together, even the Masters players, and making them all work together in a squad like Butler, Ice Bear.
It's interesting to see master tier player here in the mid lane. Again, Butler has been struggling, 1-4 currently in the standings. They're going to have to win out if they want to make that final run here. And looking at this mid lane powerhouse of Ice Bear, the meta does favor carry solo laners at this point in time. You can get these strong laners that can really run away, but a lot of it has to do with side selection at this point in time. If you're trying to play around a specific lane, you got to get them that counter pick.
Yeah, whenever I watch Butler backstage, I always see them do pretty well early, and that just falls apart in the later parts of the game. It feels like they don't have kind of the, I would say, a solid foundation for the team, and that's what this tournament's all about, is getting your foundation, trying out your new rosters, trying to get some synergy, especially when you have incoming freshmen that do have a high skill level. It's good to get them that experience so that later on they can come in with that fire in their belly, a little bit of revenge on the table for them. So I want to see what happens here moving forward for Ice Bear, because I think he's the guy really to watch here in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing when you talk about the relative skill level of a lot of these collegiate teams. It comes down to who plays the fundamentals, and usually the team that's the best at the collegiate level is the one who understands, how those basic elements, the pushing, the rotations, all that comes together. And I think that's definitely something you need to be looking at here as we get into draft game 1.
Yeah, and all of that starts with what kind of composition you're able to pick up for yourselves. So we'll see how Butler and Villanova approach this draft. So far, Butler banning out the Tristana and Villanova taking away the Talon. That's an Amumu ban. I love watching these types of teams play against each other. It's less about the meta and it's more about the pocket picks, what players are comfortable on and what they're able to play. And Amumu's definitely one of those champs where if you're comfortable on this, it has high impact play potential. So Butler says, we don't want any of that.
Yeah, the Amumu and the Morgana definitely give me a feel it's a little bit more targeted, as once again, you don't really see those in the meta, but I think Villanova, you've got the Talons still in the mid lane being banned away, but the Kiana ban's pretty standard. I'm wondering to see whether the Pantheon comes out here. Because also to be wondering, we've seen it in other competitions here at ESL, whether people are actually willing to not only play the Pantheon, but are you comfortable in it? Because if you play it, doesn't matter. If you can't win that lane, you might as well not pick it at all.
Yeah, you had to be able to play it in that competitive setting and actually perform on it. But all these targeted bans here from Butler versus Villanova's are all rather I would say, meta save for the talent. And the J4 is just picked up as the first pick here. So it feels like there wasn't really a pinched pool there. This is just a preference type champion. But they're just kind of picking away at very specific things here that I feel like maybe that was a shared champion and they didn't want the native to have it. But this feels like it's a very specific draft, not so much something you're going to get just in any game.
Yeah, also here with some of the ESL tournaments going on, I've noticed that the J4 Galio combo, it's definitely out of the meta as far as Worlds and whatnot goes, but here in Collegiate, it is still up and on the board. Speaking of combinations, me thinks that Villanova has an answer. Okay, maybe not as much as I thought.
Well, you mentioned the J4 Galio. My next thought was the J4 Oriana tried and true classic combination. So Villanova take away the Oriana option. They lock in a Yasuo, which is bold. But Butler's answering with the Ashe pick. Not something we've seen, again, meta recently, but still has high impact potential.
Ashe was one of those picks that we expected to see at Worlds, but never really came to fruition. It gives you that engage tool, especially when you have a J4. You should be able to start fights kind of out of nowhere. Villanova, I'd be very shocked if they don't pick up the Gragas here. My thought is that they just want to pick the Oriana early, but then also, you know, they're not going to take Gragas away from you, or they're not going to pick Gragas. Oh, and we got a Lee Sin.
Yep, Lee Sin, kind of the same thing in a sense, right?
It's just R.
Yeah, it's like, I like to imagine Gragas is just, you know, Lee Sin before he went to the gym, you know? Very, very similar.
Before he went on the slim fast diet, you know, got on that keto. But one thing I'm looking at from Butler's composition, everyone has engage right now. Leona can go in. Ashe can, from a distance, engage, and J4 can go in as well. So Villanova, yes, they have the wind wall from the Yasuo, but they got to be very careful and pick some kind of front line that can absorb that.
And not only front line, but the bottom lane as well is yet to be touched by Villanova. You already have the Morgana being banned away by Butler in the first rotation. Now you have the Thresh ban as something that's a little bit more defensive. Riven, maybe not that bot laner that you're thinking of, but you got to be wondering what is Villanova going to be willing to play into this.
Well, I just picked Nautilus here. Like, that just seems really easy.
Yeah.
Like, they banned away Thresh. They picked the Leona. Like, I got to play the Nautilus here. The Riven ban was one that was really interesting. So I'm like, who's going to play? Like, you're saying it's a... Like, the Riven ban is saying you are going to play Yasuo bot, and you're actually saving your top laner.
Or the Oriana bot. We have seen mages head to that bot side. Potentially, this is Butler doing their research on Villanova and seeing, we don't believe that you have picked your solo laners yet. We still think that that Riven's a threat, but we'll see what Villanova locks in as Butler. They get their solo laners. It's going to be an Urgot and a Vladimir. That's a throwback champion right there.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think your theory may actually be pretty well founded. Yasuo, I think, is actually going to be the pick up down here. And the idea is that you have an immobile Ashe, the Leona a little bit more mobile, but more in the engage, less in the disengage direction. So you will have the opportunities to hit level 6 to just run it through. But already seeing the Ashe plus the Leona locked in, that's so much lockdown against the Yasuo, especially in the early levels, that I'm not really personally sure whether you get to that level 6 kill point.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here going, like, what are they going to do with this Urgot? Because Urgot is champion that we sometimes see in the jungle, but if they play him in mid lane up against the Oriana, I don't know that matchup. I don't know if they even know that matchup.
I don't think anyone knows that matchup.
I hope the Oriana has some idea.
Well, we'll have to lay it on the table and say what we think the matchup's going to turn into, or at least what the game matchup will turn into. I'm going to say Villanova's stake in this one. I'm looking at their draft. Yes, it's odd having the Yasuo and the Nautilus on the bot side, but I think that their creativity and also just the way that they've been playing their games, they will be able to find that win condition.
Yeah, I think that also just kind of seeing how Butler plays, I'm not really willing to be putting too much behind them. The Ashe, the J4 for me takes a lot of execution, and from what I've been seeing, those fundamentals aren't quite there for me, and if they stop executing, I think they just really stop fighting, and that's why I got to go for a big old win out of Villanova.
Yeah, I have to agree as well. That's 3 for Villanova here for all of us, because I feel like I took a lot of risks previously with my predictions, and I feel like you know, I'm not going to take any
You're a
more
risky
risks.
man.
Yeah. No, not usually.
I respect
actually.
it.
A lot of the times, I just stick to the numbers and I stick to what I see. You know, not always blind faith. So I'm just going to go back to what I know, and I know that Villanova is damn good. So I feel like they'll take this.
All right. Well, 3 Villanovas across the board. I hope that no one clips this after Butler takes the victory, but we'll find out shortly as we head in to game number 1, brought to you by Grubhub.
Alrighty. Game number 1, Butler versus Villanova, 3-2 versus 1-4. And
Again, do or die.
Yeah.
Do or die for Butler right now. A loss here means that they have no chance. A win,
right.
There's a chance. there's an avenue for them to get in. But a win for Villanova locks them in.
Right.
They have no worry anymore. Once you get those 4 wins, you're locked.
Yeah, and if you lose to a team like Butler here as Villanova, then you are definitely leaving the door open to get wiped out of the playoffs. That's a huge confidence breaker, especially right before when you need it the most, when you're getting ready for that regular season and for when the collegiate title is on the line. Villanova looking to do something a little bit cheeky here. He got Nautilus, he got some early game lockdown, but doesn't look like he got any biters.
Setting up a potential counter-invade as all 5 group up. They're looking at the J4, the Leona champions that love to go for these early plays, thinking, okay, we're just going to set up in case they come for an invade on us. They don't, and instead, Butler actually gets a very slight advantage. They have that ward down, so they could potentially track Bilito as he's going around the jungle in the early game, but starting bot side for right now.
Also, something really important to note, we didn't really see this after the draft, but that was a swap to the top lane for the Urgot. So that is going to be a Vladimir versus Orion match of mid. I think that would have been probably one of the worst places they could have put Urgot in the mid lane. So, you know, hats off to Butler. But
There's a switcheroo.
right.
Like that.
But then you're also looking at this top lane, and yes, Urgot does outfight Camille in the early game. You have a bit more range. You have more control. But the biggest thing is if you ever fall behind to this Camille, she is one of the easiest engaging champions in the game, especially at level 6. She will force you into advantageous 1v1s, and she will also force you into 2v1s with the jungler around. And actually with Whimsical showing early here, that should give Butler full knowledge of where the junglers start.
Junglers both starting on the bottom side. Speaking of the bot side, the native 192, actually a mid lane main player, Yasuo, the favorite champion of this player. So on their main, in a different lane, but they still look like they have confidence. They got the dabbing penguin. That just
Those are 3 dabs.
exudes confidence right there.
3 dabs is a war crime in some countries, so we'll have to see how exactly it plays out here. Native 192 is going to be an uphill battle because I don't think you realistically want to take these 2v1 fights, especially.
Oh, Zenith Blade just barely does not land onto Nick Haber.
Yeah. It's a little bit interesting to see that Ash actually went for the lethal tempo instead of the Arcane Comet. So focusing a bit more on the teamfight damage and on the DPS rather than just the poke. Whereas I think poke would actually just be your stronger point because, you know, natives melee and so is the Nautilus. So just trying to keep them at bay, but that does mean they are potentially looking at Hoffinator to facilitate these engages and really lay down that DPS once that time of the game does come around.
Once the Leona can get onto the Yasuo, it can be difficult for Yasuo to get away because you can just chain so much CC, but look at these junglers about to find each other. Oh, the Sonic Wave lands, Resonating Strike as well. Butler is in trouble. MGL has to flash, but Bilito follows right up and gets the first blood.
Yeah, and the fact that there was actually a flash out there from MGL is potentially devastating because J4, one of the strongest junglers at early ganking that you can think of. It's all about that flag, drag, flash combo, kind of like Ragas, but with that being down, plus the fact that Bilito not only has control of his jungle, but has control now of the knowledge of where he is, that probably means he's not going to get much done for the next few minutes.
MGL is going to have to just path to the bot side, look to get something down there, but Bilito looking to keep the aggression going. He's on this top half of the map, looks for the gank onto Andy, but good senses from Andy, backing off, saying it's not worth it to go for that wave, it'll push in.
Yeah, and I wouldn't actually be shocked to see a lot of vision control being allocated to the top lane for Villanova, because if you keep at least the idea that Lee Sin is somewhere on that top side of the map, then Andy is never going to be able to pick an aggressive fight. And if he doesn't find an aggressive fight early, he sure as hell ain't going to find one late.
Look at these junglers, both of them hanging around the mid side. MGL's backing off, doesn't actually want to go for that gank. I liked the position that he had Please crit in, but they call it off, and instead they're going to track Bilito going to the bot side. He walked over a ward and a scuttle, so they should know this is coming, but the engage already comes through. No flash for Mac, and another kill picked up for Villanova. Hoffinator, the only surviving member, has to walk away, but well played by the Lee Sin.
Yeah, that was really well played for sure. The Villanova understood that if you want to take down that bottom lane, you've got to hit him quickly before that DPS starts coming in from the Ashe. And that's exactly what they went ahead and did. And if you're Butler, if you're playing the super range matchup with a little bit of engage versus super engage on the other side, you have to use your range to knock the opponent down to the point where they can't engage. It is poke supporter, in this case, poke ADC 101. They didn't quite do that. Villanova is super healthy, not respecting where Bilito was, and just like that, easily turns this bot lane around.
And the wave is in a really rough spot for Butler as well. It's naturally pushing into Villanova. Native will be able to catch a lot of this CS. Meanwhile, Mac is missing out on a lot of this, and look where Bilito is, still on the bot side. Hoffenator hasn't even back. They might just go for a play. Heal used proactively by Mac, just in case, just to keep Hoffenator alive.
And I just realized, too, this is an exhaust coming out from Hoffenator on the lane, so they aren't... It's this weird combination where they picked a super aggressive champion into a melee matchup, but still aren't really focusing on the engaged priority of it. To be frank here...
Nah, he's on a ward. Okay.
To be frank here, and I know this is going to get a little bit wild, potentially for those in the chat, but if you're just playing a tank support whose sole job is to keep Yasuo from engaging to the point where you're willing to go exhaust, just pick Poppy. Like, Poppy in this matchup would actually be disgusting. You knock down the Nautilus, you knock down the Yasuo, you knock down the Lee Sin, and you knock down the Camille. It's a grand slam, baby!
Returned, if I start having a lane against Poppy supports after that statement, I'm going to be pretty upset.
You don't have to. Yeah, you're fine.
True. Bard has a fine matchup into Poppy, actually. Yeah, that's good.
See, I'm helping you. I'm getting the meta to a point where you can keep winning your ranked game. Easy.
The inside job. I like that.
Exactly.
But so far, the bot lane hasn't been going too poorly for Butler after that play. And honestly, Villanova, yes, they got 2 kills, but they haven't done an insane amount with that. It's still even CS pretty much across the board right now, so it's just the gold from those kills at the moment. But you got to feel good as the team that has some scaling. The Yasuo will get very strong at around 2 items, and the Camille as well. But now a fight on the top side here. Whimsical Melody in the 1v1 against Andy. Bilito again tries to make something happen, but just can't quite find it.
Yeah, and you can see here that Butler Andy still has a little bit of priority when it comes to the 1v1ing. It's not super there, but once you factor in the ultimate, you definitely have the advantage. But the fact that Bilito is there negates anything that the Butler top laner could have done.
But look at this from Butler. They see Bilito on the top side, and they proactively take this dragon. They know that there's no way for a steal to come through if they just group up, and they already had the push bot side. I like that kind of play.
Yeah, but like this one up here, Bilito,
yeah,
the 2v1.
Melody starts tanking up the turret, and it's just easy as that. Actually, Bilito might go down. That shutdown comes through for Andy in the 1v2 under the turret.
Yeah, I was hoping at some point Whimsical was going to be able to tank, so you negate it away from Lee Sin.
Well, he started, but then you de-aggro once
with
you
the
go
ultimate.
The ultimatum. He went too soon.
Right. I actually would have loved to see them hold on to the ultimate a little bit later, so you trade off in the middle and nobody dies. But unfortunately, that ain't the world we live in. Oh, look up here, Whimsical.
Look, teleport immediately to the top side. Andy doesn't have the ultimate, but can he get on flashes available? If he E-flashes... Doesn't want to go for him. Whimsical Melody had the flash as well. You have to time that perfectly.
Not even the 6 legs gets him there in time, unfortunately.
You'd feel like the more legs you have, the faster you go, but it's not always.
And that's just the rule of nature. Crabs are the fastest living things. Well, no, spiders are centipedes. Centipedes are the fastest living things alive.
They have a lot of.
Crabs are pretty.
They do have a lot.
Yeah, they're giant.
Ooh, and engage on the bot side. Leona's able to lock down Nick, and the Nautilus is caught out. Beautiful engage here coming in from Butler's bot side. But with the lull in the action now, we're going to send it over to Zyrene so we can update us on what's happening elsewhere in the tournament.
Currently have the #1 team, Seton Hall, playing Marquette. And honestly, this app looks fantastic. This Grubhub, absolutely incredible, amazing. And there you go. So just like those dumplings being rolled up, we got this ball rolling right now. And so what happens is that they're 7,000 gold down. Seton Hall, they look like they're actually going to start losing this game, but they get a fantastic pick on the back line. And that's really what the difference is here is even though they're down 7,000 gold, they have such a good team fight, or I guess instinct, to reach that back line, know how they have to approach these team fights while they're down, and then they'll get themselves the Baron after this. So even though they're 7,000 gold down, they still found a way into this game, still found a way to put up a fight, and that's what's going on in that other game right now.
All right, thanks for that, Zyrene, and perfect time to come back as action breaks out immediately. Please crit, gets the kill solo on Ice Bear.
Yeah, that's actually a fantastically free trade there in the mid lane. Ice Bear has to be careful because you are, despite having the Ignite in the early game, Vladimir usually look at that level 6 spike to be your popping off point, but versus the Orianna, who has a really good ability to just shield against your constant poke and drain, you have to be careful about when you're going to throw it, and just right there, please crit, absolutely throwing a masterclass down on how to win those early exchanges. And Orianna's one of those mid-game carries that needs like a kill or two early to really flip online. There's a huge difference between like a 0-kill Orianna with decent farm at 20 minutes and a 1 to 2 kill Orianna. It's that extra half an item that really can just let you wreck face. And with how teamfight focused this Butler squad is, not only having the extra shielding, but more so the AoE damage in these team fights, that could exactly be what tips the odds in Villanova's favor. Because they're going to need something, because this bottom lane starting to get a little bit sketchy.
The bot side, always the opportunity to engage. Leona with that ultimate available, and flash, and exhaust. They could look for something right now. And Billytoe's on the top side, so no jungler around. If Billytoe shows here, I feel like Butler just goes all in the 2v2 bot. We'll see what happens here. A 2v1. Andy's got to be careful. Flash available, but you don't want to burn that just to avoid a gank. Billytoe trying to spend so much time to shut down Andy, and so far hasn't really worked out.
As you can see here, Billytoe in his native jungle, stalking his prey around the side. Does the crowd know he's about to be engaged?
Oh, but there's Andy flashes preemptively, but the Hextech ultimatum still available. Billytoe trying to get that damage down. Is Melody gonna be enough? Andy might just get out. Billytoe goes back in, claims the kill, but now is the engage on the bot side, just like we were talking about. Native trying to go in aggressive onto Ashe. Mac has to flash away, does go down to the ignite, but with a mid lane roam along with the jungle, they might be able to turn it around. Please crit, looking for MGL. Flash forward by Native 192, but the hook misses from Nick. They flash again, trying to get the knockup, trying to get the damage, and Please Crit will barely clean that one up. Meanwhile, topside, it looks like Whimsical Melody gets another kill onto Ice Bear, so Villanova winning across the map.
Yeah, they're going to be really happy with that one, and Native starting to flex the muscles there on the also bottom lane. Great combination with Nick Hombre in the early part of that fight just to keep it going. A little bit suspect towards the middle of the fight, but of course you have the rotation coming out of Please Crit to lock it all down from Villanova. And Butler is starting to not really respect all the points of pressure that Villanova have on this map. Top lane is being eaten away at bit by bit until it's going to be no longer. Each of those crab legs going to be fried, going to be cracked, going to get a little butter on them, and then they should be up for eating from Whimsical Melody. And with that one already gone, mid lane's winning pretty hard now from the Orianna. Bottom lane, you now have kill pressure, and you have to start picking and choosing your battles. You can't throw Butler LMGL to the top lane while not defending the bottom side of the map. Otherwise, Villanova gonna run with it.
Well, this was Butler trying to engage in the bot side. They had MGL down there. Mac and Hoffenator did go in aggressive onto Native 192, but then Nick just throws out the depth charge, knocks up Mac. Native follows up with his own ultimate, and suddenly the Yasuo is now so far away from the tanks that try to engage on him. The mid lane roams down, and Villanova are able to turn it around. So really well played by Villanova to make that an advantage for themselves.
Yeah, there's a point I want to get onto here, but it looks like we might have a fight of Brew. He's gonna have to wait.
Ashel coming through along with J4, locking down Please Crit. A good shutdown kill going over to Ice Bear. Meanwhile, Hoffenator looking for more, does have the flash if he wants to look for an engage, plus the solar flare. This is a really dangerous position. He's able to get 2 locks down, but the Yasuo wall comes forward. They're trying to lock the damage. Billytoe is able to get back to safety. Now Nick, now Native are going forward. The ultimate comes through, but the tanky front lines just aren't taking enough damage. Now Whimsical Melody completes the teleport down. Hextech ultimatum in, re-engaged by MGL. Butler's running away with the fight. They're able to take 2. And it's a trade in favor for Butler.
And that's a big misplay from Native. We were just praising him for the bot lane play. Throws the ultimate early, and I'm sure we're going to get a replay of that one so we can bring you guys up to speed. But first, Whimsical hovering around this dragon fight here.
Might look for something here. Mac is low, Andy is low as well, but I don't know if Whimsical can actually find anything for this. No Hextech ultimatum, no flash, so just making sure Andy has to limp away.
He's stopping on by, but here's the initial part of that fight. There's a great move immediately coming out from Butler. They do not have individual lane priority, so you need to be throwing these team fights as quickly as possible.
Watch this ult.
This ultimate's great.
Ooh.
I'm a little bit disappointed because by the time it's off, like nothing's happening, but watch the Native right here. You have the multi-man knockup with the Hurricane. Knocks up on Butler back on the backside, doesn't actually catch him with the ultimate though. That lets him stay up for the duration of this fight. That means that there's more of a DPS threat. And with Mac plus Andy both alive and kicking in that Butler fight, it's over. You ain't getting it at that point.
And Whimsical Melody also Hextech ultimatum to the full health Vladimir. The Vladimir and the Ashe were right next to each other. That was such a difficult misclick to watch because he was right on top of Mac, just a little bit closer to that Ashe, and you kill that AD carry, but unfortunately you're locked in that ultimate with the full health Vladimir, and it does not work out for Villanova, so some slight mechanical misplay as well.
Right, but I am fairly impressed. I think we've been taking a little bit away from Villanova, and I think they deserve a bit of criticism with that last sequence of events, but Butler is actually looking quite good in these last few minutes. They realize that they can't match up in the bottom lane. The duo of Ashe Leona is too awkward to keep in a 2v2. Like, if you want to have kill threat, put a Zyra there. If you want to have disengage threat, put a Poppy there. But the fact that they have so much engage threat and they need damage from elsewhere means that they just need to keep roaming around, finding plays with the team. And as long as they keep doing that, they should be winning these fights. But all it takes is that one pick off, is that one missed execution in the mid game, the lack of fundamentals. That's what'll get you every time, and that's unfortunately has kind of been the story of Butler this tournament.
But what's nice, okay, as there's a 1v1 on the top side here, Whimsical Melody actually used the Hextech Ultimatum. Might not be taking the best of this trade, but with the Conqueror stacks up for both of these, can Andy actually take him down? Shot out the ultimate, but not able to actually kill the Camille here. MGL could look for a dive. Billy Toe also on the red buff. Might just give this over here. Oh, the red buff does get
Did
secured.
he pick that up with the ultimate?
I think he did. I think he kicked the J4 into it, but getting locked down is please crit. But who's backing up Hoffinator? There's no one from the team nearby. The Ignite will just be barely enough with the help of the last ability, as there's also a kill on the top side. It's a trade mid, but Whimsical Melody does get the better of Andy. They're dying all over the place.
And that's what we're saying. When you leave these individual matchups in their side lanes, especially now, 2v1, Max all alone versus the Yasuo Nautilus, they're going to press R and they're going to kill him. So, same thing in the top lane. Once Andy used the ultimate, his only safety came from having MGL nearby. When MGL went to mid lane, he was in top lane and the crab got crabbed.
Whimsical Melody's got some seafood on the appetite right now.
Stuck
going
him in
for
the
those
pot.
collab legs. Stuck him in the pot for sure. There needs to be like a Camille baking skin so we can really
I
put this
would
whole
dig
thing
that.
together. Yeah, that would be great.
Like her legs are already knives. It's very easy to make her
Just make, like,
hibachi
butter
shrimp.
knives or something? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, and just let her like chop on a table with her feet. It'll be great. And then like flip the shrimp into
Maybe
your
the
hat.
Hextech Ultimatum is like a giant dinner plate that she just like blobs underneath.
That'd be too real.
That'd be too. Okay, all right, fair
Special
enough.
interaction with Cho'Gath. If you eat something off the plate, it's like plus 20 damage. But either way,
Bringing our attention back
Yeah.
into the game, Villanova do
Was
find
it going on
themselves yet again with a gold lead, but Butler's been doing a great job of controlling these dragons. I'll give them that.
Right.
They have an Infernal and a Mountain. Those will absolutely help them as this team fighting composition, if they're able to win the right team fight, can just burst down objectives now.
Oh, 100%. They are the only team with DPS in this game. I mean, between the Urgot, of course, doing fairly decently at the top lane, and then Ashe,
Especially the turrets
who
and
will
objectives. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. But, like, of course, it's going to help quite a bit. And with Ashe going for a full DPS build, Butler wants to enter into these objectives or fights where they can take their
Hoffinator
time.
on the flank is able to land onto Native, but the rest of the team doesn't want it. Now Hoffinator could be in some trouble. Whimsical Melody and a fight on his own dodges the Ashe arrow. MGL's in trouble, does go down, but the Vladimir answers it 1-for-1. Depth charge onto Mac, but I don't think Nick can actually find anything more for this. Whimsical Melody over the wall trying to get onto Ice Bear. Can he actually win in the 1v1 against the Vladimir? I don't think so. Beautiful combination. Hoffinator locks him down, and he sweeps him up, and Butler win the fight.
We will definitely have to take a second look at that fight because you have to keep your eyes on how that fight came to be. It was a flank of a flank of a flank, and it was whoever flanked first and flanked better got the flank off and won that fight. And at the end of that one, it was Butler, because you had like Butler coming into the mid lane, and yeah, you can see right here, you have MGL coming in, you have the Lee Sin plus the Camille behind, great dodge away here. But once there's not really the ability to burst down any member that's a real damage dealer here away from Butler for Villanova, there's nothing else really happening in this fight. Sure, you get this kind of lull here around this corner where Mac's able to fight on through, but then when you just get the snipe away from the Urgot, you're able to at least find something here.
More action now as Ice Bear dodges out from
That's a
the
big one.
Shockwave and the Yasuo Tornado. One ability is all that was necessary. Good disengage here from Butler as they get another Drake. That's a second Mountain.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty big as Butler not only can be looking for that super late game win condition if they want to go all the way to Elder Dragon, but just having not only the objective pressure, but now the team fight pressure with the Infernal Drake as well. You are looking to be in a really good spot, and actually something I really want to highlight. Got the Spellbinder's Orb onto Ice Bear, who's going to be a huge team fighting threat now.
And already has been a huge threat. Ice Bear has been putting out so much damage in these skirmishes, and both of these teams, we're 20 minutes in, we have over 20 kills, sitting at 22 right now. You can tell that they came here to have a good time and to put on a good show. This is exactly the type of League of Legends that I like to see at the collegiate level. They are scrappy.
Oh, they are ready to throw down here, left, right, center. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's a fight, they're going to pick it, but that's kind of what the competition needs.
Yeah,
it just
I mean, they have
needs
3
ruthless
engage
aggression.
tools. They have the J4, the Ashe, and the Leona, plus team fighters in the Urgot and the Vladimir. Butler have a composition that's really good at one thing, and it's just group up and fight them.
You know, sometimes that's all you need in life. You need that one thing, and you just do it, and you do it again.
MGL just needs to build a, Gargoyle Stone Plate, and you're good.
All right, when you pointed to MGL, I was really concerned that I was going to look back and see a warrior, and I was going to be like, oh, no. We got
No.
Everything's fine.
He's building tank at least.
There we go.
I just, when you're trying to be like the big engage tool for the team, it'd be great. But while we have a slight lull here, we're going to send it over to Zyrene for an update on what's going on elsewhere in the tournament.
Talking about that game, that first place Seton Hall, they're still down in this game. But what happens is Poppy ultimate knocks the Nunu out, and the Olaf flashes in, gets a steal. The second Baron of the game for the team that's behind, so Seton Hall still in this one.
Wow, that is a crazy game.
Can't sleep on
happening over
Seton.
there, right? Exactly, but we'll see if they can keep those Baron steals coming in, as now Butler on the defense against a Rift Herald on a tier 2 bot turret. Villanova grouping up as 5. This is about to be a 5v5 team fight, potentially.
God bless.
Around a tier 2 bot turret 20 minutes into the game. If this isn't Collegiate League of Legends, I don't know what it is. Actually, Villanova are backing off. There's the Ashe Arrow coming in. Butler wants this one. Native could be in some trouble, but a good wind wall, a shockwave.
Shockwave
Does not actually connect onto the members that they needed. Ooh, Nick able to flash away. Butler's trying to fight from a distance over the wall. Billy Toe's in trouble. Whimsical as well, but look on the right side. Native's able to get the ultimate only onto a single Urgot. Whimsical Melody's fine. Butler's pushing on the bot side. Different teams won different fights. Butler won the side fight around the dry bush, but Villanova do walk away with the one in the Dragon Pit. I don't know if either team's necessarily happy with that, but they both walk away still standing.
I mean, I'd call Butler the winner of that just by numbers basis, but there are 2 ultimates here that you need to be watching for Villanova. Orianna Shockwave and Yasuo Last Whisper. There's Shockwave,
Yeah.
It is nobody. And then Last Whisper is used all the way on this right side onto Butler Andy all the time. Mac is just absolutely draining them and Fury all the way from over the side. And the ultimate doesn't even go ahead and kill the Urgot. It is still a 2-for-3 trade in favor for Butler, but still, it is showing that Villanova are a little bit shaken here.
Yeah.
They haven't been, in fact, actually, the Orianna Shockwave, I don't think I've seen it land in these last few fights. It was dodged away earlier by Ice Bear and didn't even hit anyone in that last fight. And when you have 0 sources of true DPS and everything is front-loaded, you better, like, if you're gonna call someone out, you better just knock them down with that first punch.
And keep in mind, this was the lane swap. Please crit, usually the 80 carry, Native usually the mid laner, but they wanted the Yasuo in the team composition.
Right.
Native 192's favorite champion, now 2-3. And during that replay, we also saw the bot lane turret secured by Butler, so 3-3. Gold still in the favor of Villanova, but when you're looking at these 2 Mountain Drakes and the Infernal, I gotta give the advantage at this point to Butler. In terms of pure stats, that 2k gold is not giving you as much as these Drakes from Butler.
Right, they have the advantage, but this is also one of those games where I don't think you can ever say a team is fully in and fully out until you're like 10k away. Because realistically, whoever starts these fights the best wins. If you find a pick from Butler, which they are very well equipped to do with multiple different ultimates, they win the fight hands down. Villanova, if they land that shockwave and kill off Mac, they win hands down.
Here's
2 different
fight
fights
going on. The Urgot ultimate lands on the Please Crit, but Billy Toe's on the front line now. Meanwhile, up top here, we got Native on the flank, throws out the wind wall, trying to go in. Can they land a knock-up? There's one. Shockwave goes through this time, and Butler gets destroyed in the jungle of Villanova. It's a 3-for-1 trade, and they want more. Even take down Ice Bear. It's just Mac left alive, but can Mac even get away? Whimsical Melody looking for the Blade of the Ruin King. Speed might just get Mac out, plus the flash over the wall. Running for his life. Flash with the Sonic Strike, resonating strike. Mac goes down. That's the ace for Villanova.
Yeah, that's a huge one for Villanova. They were in a disadvantageous position, but that was great noticing what members of Butler were caught out. top lane, Mac has to blow the ultimate just to get away from Native because he was split up from the team, a position he probably should never be in. But then once Villanova brought it back together, they finally find that ult from Please crit. They didn't quite find the last whisper from the Native, or that last breath from the Native, but it doesn't even matter because the team fight just goes completely the way of Villanova. You can see here, there's two fights. The one on the top actually blows the ultimate away from Mac, makes him flash on and get on out of that fight. Coming back on in here as we have a grouping once again.
A good early flash from Please Crit there, just getting away and then repositioning.
Right, if Native's able to land an ultimate here, it goes even quicker, but that three-man shockwave shuts Ice Bear out of the fight, keeps Mac from even approaching, and just completely runs through him. This is the stampede that they have needed, and they have deserved, and they have finally found their way onto, and that's a gold lead I can get behind.
Yeah, now the gold lead is more impactful. They're still down those 3 Drakes, but they should be able to get this Cloud Drake, and with the Baron push, they can really activate this Camille in a side lane. No one's going to be able to answer this Camille in a 1v1. Maybe the Vladimir would be the best option, but even then, you don't have the Rabadons completed.
Exactly.
It's going to be tough to shut this Camille down.
Yeah, it might be the best option, but it is the best of a set of bad options at this point. And Butler, there is one thing they need to do, and again, split push, you know, we talked about it before on the desk, but how you beat a split push comp is you just engage into them hardcore, either into the split pusher, into the team comp. Those tools are still available for Butler, but you are now at the point of no return. If you miss one, it is probably game over, and you do not want
Oh, but look at this dive immediately onto Andy. It's a tanky member, but they're able to get the kill. Baron pushing the wave as well. It's now going to be a 4v5 defense from Butler. Without their top laner. It's so much harder.
Yeah, and with that, they also blew the Ashe Crystalline Arrow. So now the only engage elements they have is MGL's ultimate and then Hoffinator, the person. So do have limited options to go with that, but Villanova actually decided to play the safe option. I think they could have, if they wanted to, force a fight on the bottom side of the map, try to take that inhibitor down, but they go for the safe option, which is start the push in the mid lane and keep that split push going.
But they're trying to push both at the same time right now. A 4-1 split with Billy Toe actually solo on the bot side. There we go. Now Natives roaming down. They're actually looking to dive the Ashe. Mac in a lot of trouble, but Ice Bear also. There we go. The kill comes through. Whimsical Melody trying to get in onto Ice Bear. A shutdown onto Billy Toe. 1-for-1 so far, but Natives so deep in enemy territory. Dashing around. Might just get out. The exhaust slowing him down. Oh, beautiful tornado! Stopping the Zenith Blade from connecting from Hoffinator. It connected, but the travel did not go through. That was a game of inches. Villanova barely get out.
That was a terrible idea with a fantastic execution.
Yeah.
That's just able to get them out with
Whimsical Melody trying to run away.
Gonna get out.
They're good.
Yeah. Okay, so wow, that was so they sent the Native and Bilton and Belito to dive onto Mac. The ultimates come through, but then the entirety of the team from Butler rotates over in response, and Villanova isn't able to get anything on the back end, so it realistically just becomes a dive for kill's sake.
Yep.
And they are damn lucky that, you know, Native is so good at this champion and is able to pull off absolute, you know, nonsense with getting on out of there. Good execution.
Yep.
Not great planning, and it does now open up another window for Butler to press out of this base with no inhibitors lost, grab some vision control, and get ready to find that pick that gets you into this game.
But they did at least get the stopwatch off of Mac. That's a very important item that would have helped this Ashe in a team fight around a bigger objective. So you can say for Villanova, they got a little overeager, but you can count your blessings where you have them. They did get some advantages there. And again, I'm looking at how they can turn their gold lead into more advantages going forward.
Yeah, the gold lead from Villanova has to be used to just beat the opponent into the ground right now. You need to run through them, find that combo play, whether it's the Orianna Shockwave or whether it's the multi-man knockup followed by Yasuo. You need to keep this going before Butler continues to scale, because already Ice Bear is at the point where he could single-handedly win one of these fights with the death cap.
Speaking of a fight, one's breaking out right now. Ice Bear's trying to get the damage through, but another three-man shockwave coming in from Villanova. Beautiful from Please Crit, but can they win the rest of the fight? Ice Bear's still alive. He pops Please Crit. Ice Bear is just a terror on the backline. Finally goes down, but now they got to deal with Mac. Can Whimsical make the miracle happen? Andy gets the triple. Whimsical Melody's gonna go down. A quadra kill for Andy.
Yeah, not only does Andy get so much gold on the front side there, but on the back side of the fight, Max stays alive. Once again, nobody decides to go for the Ashe, and they just run on through. The initial engage on this fight is Bolito coming on in, but there's just no follow-up available. I assume they would have wanted to try to find one on the Native, and once again, Native's ultimate goes wide, not touching Mac. Feeds one right to the blender that is Andy, and at this point in the fight, with Whimsical not even electing to help out to kill Butler Mac, there's no way to kill the Ashe.
Yep. And even so many choices there. The Yasuo going in onto the Lee Sin engage deep into enemy territory without backup nearby. Feels like Villanova just threw themselves at Butler expecting that they would win the fight, thinking, okay, we've won the last couple, it's gonna be the same, but Butler says, oh, no. We have this Vladimir that had the Rabadons completed, that has the Spellbinder, there we go, completed. The damage output from this Vladimir is insane, and now Mac also with the GA, the DPS, the protection, the defense.
Right.
Butler are actually in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, Butler in an insanely great spot right here. Gonna be a little bit unfortunate they're not able to pick up the Dragon, but Baron is still gonna be the eye that they need, the prize that they need to keep their eyes on. They could certainly pull one out, but here comes the double flank Eru.
Ooh, do they actually want to go for an engage here? Hoffinator could be
100%
caught
yes.
out. No flash available. Hoffinator should go down. Will they be the sacrificial lamb? They're trying to buy time as a deep teleport comes in from Andy. Oh, Butler. They went for it, but unfortunately, it was a little over-eager. Villanova had 5 members grouped up. Butler were segmented away from each other, and Villanova should get another Baron.
That was absolutely tragic communication coming through from the side of Butler. They still had multiple ways they could have looked to win that fight throughout. Don't find any of it now. It's going to be a mission. Unfortunately, going to be a little bit too late from MGL. Potentially was looking for a steal of that Baron. But at least one thing that you can say for Butler, speaking of counting your blessings, the game's not over.
Game is not over.
Baron being up definitely, Baron going over to Villanova certainly hurts at this point in the game. But still, your Ashe is only scaling up to be bigger and bigger. Guardian Angel now makes her impossible to really kill for the next fight. And then even looking at what looks like an Infinity Edge coming through, Mac is going to be the highest DPS character in this game.
And think about it this way. Villanova do not have a siege composition. They cannot poke down turrets. They have to fight you in your face with their range. So Butler's actually in an all-right position, I'd say, because they want these 5v5 team fights. They want their Vladimir to be able to do crazy damage in these 5v5s. So if Villanova tries to walk these Baron minions in and takes these fights, that's exactly where Butler wants to be.
Right, but it is that double-edged sword, too, fighting under the inhibitor towers. Because if you give away even one tower, you just open the door completely for...
Flash forward. They're able to lock down the native. The Yasuo still is quite tanky, though. Teleport coming in as well from using Whimsical Melody. They want this fight. Shockwave only onto one member, but it was Ice Bear. The Vladimir's out of the fight. Where is Mac? Native jumps forward, trying to take him down. Mac's able to kite away, but now comes Whimsical Melody. Now comes Billy Toe. Mac's in trouble, has no front line left. It's just the Ashe DPS, but it might be enough. The GA will pop, but no, Mac's got no one around, and that's going to be the ace for Villanova. They got the Baron minions pushing in. They'll take this middle inhibitor, and they'll take game 1.
And that was a fight that Butler opted into. They threw the Hoffnator forward with absolutely no way to follow up, and it hands Villanova the game on its silver platter. That is a tragic way to go out from such a competitive game for Butler. It's only game 1 of 3, but you know, now you gotta even just get over a hump to get to game 3.
Yeah, I liked the idea. They were thinking, okay, we see the Camille in the bot lane. Let's fight them 5v4. We can go for the hard engage with any of our engage options. Problem being, as soon as that Yasuo Woodwall comes out, the Ashe follow-up is not going to be there anymore. So that was really good reaction time. As soon as that Leona ult comes down, Native throws up the wind wall, and suddenly they're actually safe from that engage.
Yeah, somebody who is an engaged support main, like with Alistar back in the day, #1 lesson is if you're engaging, you better make sure there's somebody to help you, because when Leona flashes forward, gets the E at max range, yeah, it's an impressive lockdown onto the Yasuo, but the rest of your team's about 3 screens the other way, my dude. And
that's when you're like, I got him, I got him, guys,
like,
I got him. He's not moving. He's still not moving. Okay, he's moving now. He's moving now.
Yeah, and it's just very unfortunate at the end. Because once again, like we've seen from Butler before, all the pieces are there. They just can't put them together. And it is those mis-executions that lost the game for them. Because they weren't losing to Butler. They weren't losing to Villanova. They were losing to Butler themselves.
Yeah, there was that one play in the mid side that I was thinking of too. They had just won a big team fight. Then Hoffenator gets caught out. They have Andy TP deep as well. And then they lose 2 members. They lose the Baron. It's moments like that where when you're Butler, I think you can just slow down. You can take a breath.
Yeah.
You can calm and say, we don't have to force plays all the time, and we don't always have to react to the enemy's plays, but we'll see learning lessons for sure from this game 1. But to break down more of what happened in that game, let's send it over to Zyrene.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes, we're going to go over the play that happened right before the Baron, the one that was the ace that led to a large advantage going over to Villanova's side, because Butler, they were really actually fighting tooth and nail and had a bit of an advantage in this game up until this point. They're picking on the Yasuo pick. They're making sure that these fights kind of near the bottom side of the map went in their favor. But as we see this game here, there's a split push threat of the teleport that's up for the Camille, but not really up for the Urgot. So Camille's on the bottom side of the map, forcing action to happen on the top side. So let's roll this out here, and you're going to see the Camille flank teleport will come through, and what's happening is they are saying to Butler, you have to engage on us. But right now, they are just playing, saying, we can't, you aren't allowed to engage on us completely. So there's all of this kind of action that's happening here, and as we pause it right here, you're going to see there was a big shockwave in the center of that. There's also the Vladimir coming in, and he wasn't able to get the right combo. What you want to do with Vladimir is you want to R channel E, hit W, and you can actually cancel that, and you can thread a Q in there too if you do the sequence correctly to have a Q come up right as you come out of your pool. So as he walked up to the fight though, he did E charge up, then he R'd, then he W'd. So he's not even charging an E while he's W'd in that one. So he wasn't getting the maximum damage as he was approaching, but still they were put in a situation that I don't think was very favorable for them. And it's because they tried to force a fight because they had TP disadvantage and the Camille was threatening the bottom side. So the split push pressure that was being applied by Villanova is something you have to watch out for. So it's the test of the macro game that looked like Butler wasn't really up to the test this time.
Well said. I think the focus of the side push is something that we can touch on again here. The Camille in that side lane was a terror for Butler to deal with. They had the tools to engage and try and take advantage of these 5v4 situations, but they also were getting very overeager and walking sometimes too far forward because of that.
Yeah, and I think that playing around that top side pressure was kind of the fruits of the labor of the early game. I mean, when you're looking at what Villanova did in the early game, it was gank top, gank top, gank top, because it was just trying to get the Camille over the hump and make sure you're winning up against the Urgot. They got over that, and then once they had that pressure, they just kept putting Butler under it, and they eventually cracked like an egg. Throw 1-2 or like 5 too many fights, and here we are.
I like the scrappiness of Butler. I liked what they were able to do with some of their plays, but Villanova at the end of the day, we're playing smarter League of Legends. We'll see if they can keep that momentum going forward and end this series 2-0, or if Butler will have more fight left and even us up at 1-1. Either way, you won't want to miss it. So let's talk about Villanova versus Butler Game 2, as Butler needs to take a look, I think, at some of the decision-making. Their draft, I like what they came out with this team composition. A lot of heavy engage, a lot of team fighting, and that's what it seemed they were most comfortable with. So for me, I'm not even sure if I'm looking at this draft phase thinking this is where they need to make adjustments, but Villanova, there might be some things that they could look at here to really punish a pure engage style composition.
Yeah, I mean, Butler, if they're looking to play around this, like we said before, it wasn't Villanova that beat Butler, it was Butler that beat Butler.
Yeah.
So I think you're right, it is much more focused on Butler playing that, that same style just a little bit more intelligently, knowing when to throw his engages, when to put Leona about 5 screens ahead of you, and when to, do some Vladimir combos. But
yeah,
for the side of Villanova, I want to see a little bit more control. We were expecting to be one of these top teams. They were the champions in 2019, but it seems like they kind of just threw that game up in the air.
Yeah, and I think the Dragon fight very early on, where they picked Orianna with an Ashe Arrow and Jarvan ultimate, and they gave the kill over to Vladimir, and then they went to the Dragon, and a 4v5 was actually engaged by Villanova. The Lee Sin got engaged on, the Leona did some good picking, and I feel like that's really what they should have aimed for with this comp, is picking one person and then forcing an objective, and then using the Leona to actually catch people who are kind of going towards that objective. So I think they should have used objectives better to bait people in. Even if you just have control of the Baron pit, instead of pushing that top area like we saw them in the replay, they should have just gone to Baron, maybe force the Camille teleport, maybe force them to panic, try something along those lines. So I think they should have done more in terms of macro game with their pick comp.
Well, we'll see if there's any adjustments from either of the teams in pick ban. So far, Butler, they're taking away the Yasuo. They didn't like what that was dishing out in that last game. We were talking about the threat that the Yasuo gave to the Ashe. It didn't always work out the way that they wanted the combo to, but at the end of the day, still was a very strong pick for Villanova, and they were playing it in these team fights. So not on the table this time, but Villanova keeping the same bans. They're not worried about the engage, so that means Butler's right back.
Yeah, I mean, Butler's on the same side of the map, so they're going to get the exact same first pick. You got to wonder what's going to change afterwards. I really don't want to see yet another Leona plus Ashe. If you're going to go Ashe, like, give me something that kills. If you want Leona, give me some a little bit more early game damage. But, you know, this is just straight run back. Only thing that can't be the same, of course, is the Yasuo. Should be banned away.
But the Orianna's locked in once again for Villanova. This time they're hovering the Thresh. This would be an interesting preemptive pick because it's a very strong counter into the Leona. If she tries to Zenith Blade and you time the flay correctly, you just disengage immediately. But Orianna does a similar thing. It feels like either way, they're trying to counter what Butler did last game already.
Well, also, the Thresh was banned in Phase 2 by Butler, and the Morgana was actually banned as one of their first 3 bans. So covering both of those here, basically saying, you know, they're comfortable playing either of them. And I love what you brought up where the Thresh can stuff the engages, and they can play more peel style now. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think that not only do you have that now disengage potential with the Flay, but also probably one of the best defense abilities in the game, the Lantern, to get you out of the way of some of that more skill shot-oriented engagements. Already, Ashe, in my mind, should be off the board, and that's why you point and click. I think that's exactly what Butler's going to do here. You have the Nautilus, you press R, things go boom. Nocturne, you press R, things go dead.
Either
But,
you or
look,
them, like one or the
I
other.
didn't specify which thing, it's just things.
But it's either going to be a solo lane Jarvan or a solo lane Nocturne. Both of those cannot go jungle, so that means Butler's doing something funky with their draft right now. I know that there's a certain LEC caster, Vedius, who loves to play the Nocturne mid. I know J4 has been played top in the past, so I'm curious what Butler's end goal is here with this composition. Either way, Villanova, they're locking that Riven in right off the bat.
At this point, I don't think anyone is going to be able to figure out what Butler's going to do here. I mean, a Galio, of course, is available if they just want to go true Wombo super combo.
That would be insane.
I mean, your first thought is like, okay, either Nocturne or J4 could be going into the solo lanes. You could also have like a J4 in the bottom lane with Nocturne. Just have a super engaged lane. You could. It's physically possible. We watched a Teemo jungler earlier in the tournament.
Physically
we can
possible.
see anything.
They're allowed to go in the same lane.
There are no rules
and I'm also
saying
allowed
they
to report
cannot.
them at the end of the game. You know, just
Well, I don't think we can because we're not in.
As League was meant to be played.
I will go back there to the observers and I will report them.
I'll click that button. But we see the rest of the bands
Call
coming
right
up for
games
Butler.
right here.
Focusing on the Tristana and the Jax. Tristana, a very strong AD carry, but also could be played in those solo lanes, whereas Villanova focused on what was damaging them in the team fights in that last game. Vladimir and Urgot, both off the table now for Butler.
All right, so Talia locked in here. I think that for me, this almost says immediately bottom lane. She can be played either as the AD position in the like marksman position, or she can play as the support. I wouldn't be shocked to see that this would be the Nautilus plus the Talia just for that super aggression in the bottom lane. Especially plus you get the damage on anyone who dashes through into illusion and whatnot.
It's the Talia Pantheon bot lane.
No, I think it's Nautilus Pantheon bot lane.
This is the everybody get in here team composition.
Where's the Galio?
You talked about like team compositions that like go in and engage. It's like everybody get in here. It's like everybody's gonna get in.
You're right though, Return. If that Talia was a Galio, it would be the
Give me J4 support right now.
Yeah, it would just be the cream on top of the cupcake at that point. But Villanova, they lock in the Gragas support or jungle. They have the Lucian Thresh bot lane.
Oh.
So much more standard composition. This is what you expect from your League of Legends team comps.
I think Butler has
Solo
nothing
queue.
to lose.
I
Yeah.
don't think Butler really...
I'm not even sure if I see this in solo queue. This is too much coordination for solo queue.
Okay, somebody's got to be dodging, right?
That's
That's what
you're
this
right.
is.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is when like you're like, oh man, I'm going jungle, and somebody's like, nope.
Somebody
Nope,
hasn't played since season
It's like,
5.
bro, you're assigned support. It's like, nope, I'm jungle.
This is the 5
I'm jungle.
autofills right there.
And then everybody starts like picking random stuff. So it's going to be remade.
Back to the old days when you have to call your position when you get in. You're just like,
man.
jungle,
Oh, the
jungle,
good old
jungle.
days.
But then somebody else locks in the new champ.
Yeah, because pick
And then
order
just-
matters more than just calling it.
Yeah, there we go. It does.
Pick order squad.
Well, we do have to lay all of our cards on the table and determine who we think is going to win this. Butler just made it so hard. I'm going to go Butler. Screw it. I want this comp to work. I want them to win.
Villanova go next.
Okay, there we go. Aiden, any hope? Any hope for Butler? Can you join my side?
I would love to join your side, but I don't actually, like
we have
pineapple.
fun on this side.
I don't like pineapple on
we
pizza.
have fun on this side.
And I like getting predictions right, so I'm going to go with Villanova.
Ooh.
It's a little bit, I would say it's
Doesn't
a little
feel good.
wild over there in that area. I'm not going to touch that.
They're prepping for the
We'll
wild
stay on our
rift
side.
coming out here.
Ah.
Well, we'll see if Butler can bring it back here with a very unique composition, or if they're just trying to have fun with it towards the end of their season. Either way, Villanova looking to make this a 2-0 as we send it into game 2.
It's Nocturne mid.
All right.
It is Nocturne
It
mid.
is Nocturne mid. Okay, it's Electrocute Nocturne mid, who's
Oh,
disconnected.
he left the game!
Hey!
They're back.
Oh, it's a classic step in Nocturne mid. You disconnect from the game to start. It gives you that extra buff to start on through and really just win that laning phase.
Because Nocturne's got this little passive where every time you load into the game, you get extra ADs.
Exactly. That is
Just abuse
precisely
it,
what happens, but
So what do you think about the Nocturne into Orianna lane match?
that sounds terrible. So the whole point of Nocturne is that you're trying to close the distance. Well, like you poke on through with your Q, which it does actually a decent chunk of damage, especially going lethality or something. And you just become just like a dive bomber. You just keep going, and then once the mid game rolls around, you hit level 6 and you just press R everywhere. You're not going to win the Orianna matchup, but that's not the point. You're supposed to win the other 2 matchups. But I want to like say one thing, actually 2 things. Because first thing first, that's a Cowboy in the top lane. So we have switched top laners here.
That is.
Yeah, we have switched top laners here for Butler.
We also have Pixel Drum in
Yeah.
the jungle for Villanova, and Billy Toe went to the support.
Yeah, I think everyone's just sending it at this point. It's just musical chairs.
Yeah, we're just going to roll with it. We're just going to not ask questions.
But the other thing I wanted to say about Butler, they do,
Got
as
a
we
lot
said
of points
before,
returned. I appreciate it.
thank you, anytime. But the only thing Butler does is engage. A quick way to see whether Butler's winning or not is are they engaging physically every second of the game. If that answer is no, they are losing. If that answer is yes, they might be winning.
What if they're down 5,000 gold and they're still engaged?
But are they engaging?
Yes.
Then they might be winning.
Okay.
That's
okay.
the answer.
That's the answer. Well, we'll see if that logic holds true here.
Pantheon Riven, I've not seen this matchup. I still assume that it, benefits Pantheon just given the early extra range you have on the Q, but certainly one that could snowball completely out of control, especially against somebody who has lockdown in the melee position.
And also with the recent nerfs to the Pantheon, not nearly as strong as it has been considered in the past. We've seen the win rate going down steadily ever since those nerfs came through. So even though we see a lot of bans for it, nothing too scary for Villanova to deal with right now as Ice Bear's just trying to track Pixel Drum a little bit here in the jungle. The Gragas coming in, subbing in to the jungle role. Sometimes that's what you need as a team, Just someone new in the jungle that has different pathing from the last jungler, just to throw the enemy off their scent.
I mean, yeah, that is one certain way to go about that, but we'll have to see. Of course, Belito, is a jungler, so is in the support position. I think it's just like Villanova.
Thresh is a good champion to play if you're actually a jungler. Is it simple
maybe
enough?
You
Is
just
it,
roam. That's fine.
True.
You can legitimately leave this Lucian in a 2v1 lane for quite some time. Go and gank. Like you can go. It's the same idea with Shen in the mid lane too. Instead of Shen, you think of Nocturne. When he tries to ult away, bring the fight to him. He can't influence a matchup he's already a part of, or he can't rather increase the influence of matchup he's already a part of. And
gonna have to be careful about that depth charge though. As the Lucian, you are still short range, having to try and get to that wave. But here's an engage coming in from Billy Toe, and there's the lantern out. Hoffenator is able to hook to the wall, and might get out safely here. Pixel Drum, there's the exhaust yet again. Hoffenator. Actually, this time it was Mac that had the exhaust in that lane, but no successful gank here.
No heal needed in the bottom side. It is Ignite. It is Combat Summoners. It is Kill, Blood, Blood, Blood. And that is going to be the name of the game here. But there is so much pick potential onto the Butler squad. You mentioned the depth charge, and yes, when their depth charge is available, you do not leave this Lucian alone or he be dead. But certainly before that, you have a little bit of room to make some plays around the map, especially like we said, onto the Nocturne, which is available. But Villanova here, I think they just need to do everything they can just to keep this game simple. I mean, don't let the Pantheon get option early lead and looking fine.
No!
Oh, great pick.
Engage here onto Billy Toe. Might just take him down. Clutch Lantern. The shield should be enough here, but Oh, beautiful combo from Mac and Hoffenator.
And this is why you see Talia down towards the bottom side. Need to back out of there because I believe that Cowboy has Whimsical inside the XQ range, but one way or another, Villanova, Talia just does so much damage off the shove plus the rock combination that you can just half-health somebody out of nowhere. That's why she's been seeing the bot lane. You can surprise you so quickly.
Onto Billyto. Does level up, get some health for that, but Billyto's gotta respect the engage. Oh, now Native does. There's the auto coming down. Flash is still available. No hook yet from Hoffenator. Still on cooldown, but oh, this is... I gotta hold my breath in this 2v2 down here. It seems like Butler are hungry for blood.
Yeah, Butler want to win the game. They want to end their season on the preseason rather on a win. Of course, they do have another game to play, I believe, through the round robin, but with no more real playoff aspirations, without a win at least, it seems like they are falling back the good old tried and true fashion of if we don't know what we're doing, the enemy may not know what we're doing, and that does just seem to be the name of the game so far. Bot lane, I think if you're going to see first blood in this game, it's going to come from the bottom lane. Top lane's aggressive, but bottom lane, either Butler's going to push too hard and die for it, or they are going to murk somebody.
There's always the opportunity for that to happen on the bottom half, but here we go. Ice Bear hits level 6, and look at where he's roaming, immediately going to the top side with the help of MGL. Whimsical Melody's gotta be careful right now. Flash is available, but no TP. If you go down, you're losing so much XP, so much gold, and Butler are looking for it. There we go, the darkness in on to Melody, but a little preemptive. Whimsical Melody's able to just hop away.
So I think it needs to be stated that when you have a Nocturne, you need to land other things along with the ultimate. He has absolutely, yeah, what?
Is that how it works?
Yeah, it is how it works.
Really?
He's not just a bomb that you just throw at people. He is an individual with feelings, goals, aspirations, and unfortunately no mana.
Oh, but look at the bot side. Here's another fight, and it's taken by Billyto, but lost by Billyto. Gets a little aggressive, taking that death sentence in. And you're right, Return. First blood secured on the bot side.
Exactly. That's why we played the slots down the bot side, and you put the chips on the bot lane, blue side. Congratulations.
Have you ever
collect your winnings?
Have you ever played
I've
poker?
Okay. I've not.
All right.
But either way,
I gotta take you sometime.
We'll figure out how that one's gonna work in the future. But
look at the top side. Pixel Drum looking for the gank here onto Cowboy. Cowboy has flash. Will he be able to get away? The body slam lands. They're trying to chain the CC. I think Cowboy's pretty much done here. Just buying time if he can. Yeah. But Whimsical Melody will take the kill.
Yeah, and just like we saw about the Camille matchup before from Whimsical Melody, this is still a lane where the opposing top laner has advantage. Gank the heck out of him and camp the heck out of him. Eventually, you will win that matchup. Riven works just the same with
Billyto. Are you sure you want this, buddy? Butler's here along with Hoffenator. The hook comes through, calling from Native, trying to do what he can, but yet again, Billyto goes down 0 and 2 on this Thresh.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
Really?
So
wait, when your screen is gray, that's not good.
That's not a power
I play League of Legends incorrectly.
I know. It's okay. Yeah. Come here, buddy. But either way, but towards the bottom side, that just really looked like a little bit of lackadaisical warding coming out from Billyto. He knew that the dragon was up. Butler noticed that he's hanging around and just jump on him almost immediately. And this kind of coordination that we saw from Villanova in earlier series is missing in this game. The fundamentals aren't quite there. And I'm afraid if they're going to go back to the classic strategy of wait for the opponent to lose the game for us, they're going to be a little bit disappointed, at least for a very long time here. Bot lane.
Billy!
I've seen this before.
Billy, what are you doing? Oh, that sentence comes through, but the depth charge already there. They're on top of you, buddy. You got nowhere to go. Nocturne even joins the party. They're trying to get more and go on the Native. Billyto does finally go down. Good explosive cast coming in from Pixel Drum, but there's just no damage following it up. Native still alive, still trying to dodge around the Cataclysm. Pixel Drum alive as well. A double kill from the barrel. It's answered back from Butler, but at the end of the day, it's a 2 for 2.
Oh, here comes a run from Oriana, but is she just too far away?
Here we go. Max trying to find it, getting in onto Native 92. Ooh, the seismic shot misses. Native with the outplay takes him down, teleport in. Oh, Gets hit by the blast code. Still looking for more. On to please crit, but look at Bilito. This play has been going on for so long that he's back to the bot side. Has a flash available. Doesn't even need to do it. Just lanterning for this assist. Oh, flashes trade as please crit will flash forward for the kill.
What just happened? All right, so it starts off here with actually really poor coordination between Mac and Hoffenator. If Mac just waits to throw down the W until Hoffenator lands the ultimate, he gets that first kill easily, which simplifies a whole lot of this process right here. Good ultimates, trying to play it back from Villanova. Easily gets a few kills back here, including this double kill where Ice Bear has absolutely zero reason to be walking up at all at that point. He has no way he's going to get auto range. He already threw the Q. There is zero reason. And yeah, just like that, you just fly off the map. There's just nothing left there. And Villanova able to benefit from a lot of really sloppy play from Butler. And even the fact that that lasted so long that Bilito was able to come back up and assist in those last few kills just shows you how I don't want to say undisciplined because it was perfectly fine, but certainly it was too long drawn out.
Onto the mid lane, trying to get down Ice Bear. Can't quite land the damage. Oh, that was so close.
Uncoordinated. That's the word I'm looking for. Not undisciplined, but uncoordinated to not end that fight earlier. But as I was thinking of a word, fight happens mid lane. Fight doesn't anymore happen mid lane.
Ice Bear gets out.
True, yeah.
Burns the Ignite for that.
Still doesn't really have anything to kill people with, but he's not dead.
Hey, he's got that ultimate, so they could look for a play right now. Villanova needs to respect that, especially as Pixel Drum is very low on health. And you're on the bot side. Native 192 actually gets a kill onto Mac. It must have been a pick coming in from the bot side.
Yeah, Bilito's had enough of this whole Talia stuff. Get these rocks out of my face.
You know what, Bilito? Yeah. I credit to somebody who's, you know, the definition of insanity is you keep trying something with expecting a different outcome.
Result. Yeah.
I feel like he's pulling it off right now. Just keep throwing those hooks, keep going into that river and looking for something. Eventually, you'll find
I think the river, yes, that's the insanity part I can get on board with, but I think the hooks wasn't quite it. But this also shows you the volatility of having the Talia on the bot side. She has no way to disengage whatsoever.
Now is the engage plus the Nocturne ultimate immediately onto Native 192. Just gets popped like a balloon. And so will Bilito. Who's going to get the kill? It's Ice Bear. 2 members fall for Villanova.
And every time you think that Villanova is about to pull away from the game, Butler pulls her right back into the station and overstaying the bottom lane, not respecting the fact that Nocturne exists. This goes down almost immediately. Now 2v1 in top lane. With the Herald, this could be devastating.
Yeah, Cowboy's not winning the 1v1 trade, but he's just trying to buy time for the jungler to come. And that's because of constant roaming on the bot side. He tried to ult down there earlier on.
He went for armor.
Yeah.
This is a Pantheon that bought a cloth armor. This lane is over.
He's probably getting a Ninja Tabby,
don't
right?
get defensive items. We get out of this. But yeah, you're right. It is Ninja Tabby, but just the fact showing you that he's gone for the defensive build with the Black Cleaver already on his way. Well, at least the Phage, I guess he could go for like Triforce if he wanted to. I think he should, but he theoretically could.
Based on what I've seen today, Steven,
I don't think any makes sense.
Yeah.
It's fine, but
I think the rule book is out the window.
In a game with the Talia Nautilus bot lane, I needed to stop making assumptions here. But especially with that already being picked up, the Ninja Tabby on the top side, the whole point of the Pantheon is to have mobility and have aggression in the top lane. And twice today, or twice in this week, we have seen Pantheons not really do anything. And I think it's happened once again. The CS discrepancy, and the ultimate CS discrepancy, the level discrepancy, and then even the ultimate effectiveness discrepancy.
Ooh,
really been on the
hook misses from Hoffenator, but it does land for Bilito. Can they make anything happen here? He's actually dodging around the CC quite well, but the Cataclysm does lock in. Native 192 has to dash over the wall. So Bilito does fall for that one. Now Whimsical Melody in the 1v1 against Cowboy, trying to look for it, but he's taking up some turret shots. There's a shield coming forward. Flash in. Can he get the kill? The answer is yes. As now the darkness comes in onto the bot side. They're fighting around the dragon. Can they take down this Lucian? Native goes down. So does Please Crit. It's just Pixel Drum, but 3 fall in succession for Villanova, and Butler will take the dragon.
I can't believe this Butler are actually going to win this game.
Hey, you're just... Big brain. Let me brag for a little bit. Big brain. Yeah. When your opponent really doesn't know what you're doing, and you know what? There's a point in there somewhere. Point is, I'm happy that Butler is actually putting up a fight right now.
Yeah. I think what you can say here, especially in this bottom lane play, that I think that Villanova are legitimately the better team mechanically. but there's only so far mechanics can take you when you make poor decisions with your positioning like this. Like, what are you gonna do? I don't care if you're the fastest gun in the West. Like, if you're Lucian and there's a Nocturne plus a if there's Nocturne and plus a, what's his name? What am I missing? Nautilus. If there's a Nocturne and Nautilus ult on you, yeah, nothing's gonna save you.
Nothing's gonna save Whimsical Melody topside either, as Cowboy just
1v1
runs him down.
Did he just overstay?
Yeah, he was pushing in onto the turret trying to get those plates, but Cowboy just ults back up topside, gets behind Whimsical Melody, and takes down the ribbon. Whew. Well,
wow, okay.
Butler find themselves with a 2,000 gold lead. What can they do with it? Their composition is odd, to say the least.
It's what I said before. Are they engaging? If the answer is yes, they're probably winning. And I think that's held pretty true at this point. Like, when they're finding engages like they just did on Dragon, they are good. The thing is, they need to start combining those with the neutral objectives. Dragons are a good start. Towers are going to be the name of the game now.
Yeah, only one taken so far on that bottom half of the map. Maybe they can get something working around the mid here. They still have the Pantheon up on the top side with teleport available, so
yeah.
Seems like they're grouping up, maybe looking for someone from Villanova that steps a little too far forward, gets out of position, and that could be Butler's way to really win a team fight and run away with this one. But look at Ice Bear, ultimate's available. It's a split focus from the team.
Butler need to disengage away from this one. There's nothing to defend, so just let your Pantheon go ahead and push in the top lane. That's exactly what they do.
And you get crazy wave clear with the Talia.
Yeah, a little bit interesting positioning here from the Nocturne. Normally you want to keep Nocturne in the mid lane because he can affect both the top and the bottom lane, but where he is right now, no way in heck he gets up to the top side of the map, so realistically, this is just turning into almost a funnel for Butler. They're just putting as much gold onto the Pantheon right now, which is an interesting objective at 16 minutes, 5 seconds into the game, but
maybe the play here again. Milito way too far forward. No reason to be there. Gets engaged on, goes down. Native in trouble as well. Has to flash, has to dash. The Ignite might still take him down. Butler gets the kill. Ice Bear taking that one. Please crit will fall as well. And 3 for free for Butler. They can push down this mid turret and break yet another.
Yeah, that's a triple threat going down there in the mid lane. Absolutely for nothing. Belito is running it down at this point. Like, when you die this many times on Thresh, and that's the only thing that Butler's actually using for it. It's not Butler fighting these initial fights. Before we were saying that Butler beat Butler in game number 1, Villanova is beating up Villanova. Like, somebody call somebody.
Oh,
Villanova
the
are just like,
is about to expire.
what do you look for? What does this hook get you? Like, if you get back in the backside, what do you win? You win a death.
Maybe you try and lock down Mac. Maybe the rest of your team can follow up, but it's difficult to pull those plays off. A big ol' maybe. And Villanova are punished for it. Butler, where they were struggling in game 1, they had the team fighting composition, but Villanova felt like they were just outplaying them elsewhere around the map, and then having very strong defensive play. This time around, it's Villanova constantly getting caught out.
You know, I've had a bit too much negativity this game. I've been having a bit too much stress. I want to focus on things that are positive. And what I can say so far in this game is Pantheon is a nice recall. I like it.
That skin, for sure. It looks cool.
Is that a skin?
It looks cool. Yeah. That's the...
that's a Lucian. That's a Riven. Hey, there we go. What is that? Is that like techno?
No, it's the... It didn't used to look cool. It was one of, like, the first skins that came out. But then when they did the update, suddenly it was one of, like, the coolest skins.
Okay.
I just don't remember what it's called.
It almost looks like...
Twitch chat's probably yelling it at us right now.
But unfortunately.
Oh,
there we go, mid lane.
Mid side. Oh my God, Ice Bear.
Has anyone seen my Orianna? Jeez,
that's not legal.
I need to see, like, that is the correct way Orianna should look right now. She is in pieces. There needs to be a Zhonya's on that ASAP. Honestly, if that, I don't know what this Ruby Crystal is going for. Throw this away immediately. There needs to be a Zhonya's because nobody's surviving that. Like, I need to see Lucian with the Zhonya's at this point too, because you just need to disengage against the dumb engage. And, like, not dumb as it's been bad. It's just like it's so easy to hit that
Yeah,
it's worked
but
perfectly.
instead they're trying to make a proactive play. They're able to take down Mac. Now looking for MGL. They should be able to take this J4 down. Billy Toe, very far forward, lands the hook immediately out of the teleport. Can they lock down Cowboy? That's the next question. He's onto Native. Low mana on the Lucian. You got to be careful of this band that flashes over the wall, but now Ice Bear's a little too far forward. Doesn't have the ultimate because he just used it mid. A shutdown for Villanova. Now they're chasing down Cowboy. Can they take down this Pantheon? They can. And just like that, Butler play themselves yet again. They go too far forward and Villanova punish.
And once again, in all these small little skirmishes and the fights, when it comes down to a game of inches, it is constantly Villanova who are there holding the rulers. They're the one who are
MGL.
are out executing on the individual micro bases. It is just that they're not putting themselves normally in those correct positions here, and you're seeing the movement come almost immediately. Butler have no way to start a fight and no way to realistically follow through. A little bit of a miss from MGL as well, just kind of solidifies the fates. And even these TPs, there's nothing to be TPing in for at this point. The Nocturne can't come and join you, but it is just like a series of bad events that eventually ends to Butler losing quite a bit here. Dragon goes down, multiple kills going over as well. Ice Bear, that's a juicy shutdown going over onto Pixel Drum. And then Butler Cowboy can be the last one to hang up his reins and put on down as Villanova also looked like do they get that dragon? Was that a dragon? I think
Yes, Villanova was able to secure their first dragon after that play.
I was thinking
the
so.
Ocean Drake.
But this game, I'm not really assuming anything at this point.
Taking a look at where each of these teams stack right now, a lot of the gold from Butler on the bottom half of the map. The Nocturne really running away with this 1v1 matchup in the mid lane, as well as their bot laner Mac having a very sizable advantage. But then Villanova's side, gold elsewhere. They got a very strong top lane. The Riven really running away with his lead.
Right, but the Riven is a split push at this point. They're not really fighting team fights with Riven around, so with that, Butler, they're doing a perfect counterplay.
Another engage coming in from Butler. We don't even have time to think. We don't have time to react. It's just pure carnage as Ice Bear gets another kill. Really good explosive cast. Native still alive, but there's a flash from Hoffnader trying to get in. Gets the double kill. This is a 6-0-8 Nautilus support, everybody.
What?
Villanova trying their best to disengage, but Butler says, you got nowhere to go, baby. Whimsical Melody trying to get onto Mac. Has to flash over the wall. Actually will be able to get away from that one, but Butler are just ruthless right now.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, Butler are just absolutely falling through on this one, and once again, Villanova, they fail to play the map. They bring over Whimsical too late into the fight to really affect anything. They let Butler kind of run on over through, and now is really the only time that Villanova have an opportunity to find something back. Of course, mid tower going down.
Ooh, whoa, what's going on here? Whimsical Melody looking for something, but there's the hook, lands right back in onto Billy Bo, and the ult's already available for Ice Bear. Please, Crit goes down yet again. This might just be it. Butler pushing forward. Do they want more? They can't push without a wave, so they're gonna back off for right now.
What is this build from Oriana? Sell this circle right now. That is not a Zhonya's Hourglass.
It's a sphere return.
Get the spear out of here.
It's a ball.
You don't need ball, you need clock.
You need clock. You need... Is a hourglass technically a clock?
Just get a stopwatch at this point. It doesn't matter. Anything that tells time, just please, for the love of God, I am begging you, as a color caster, get that out of here. But
it would really help survive against the lethality of Ice Bear, but regardless, this Nocturne is going to be popping anyone they go for. Explosive cast used by Pixel Drum. Who's nearby? He's got a Ribbon coming, but could be in some trouble. They are able to lock down Cowboy. Oh, beautiful shield right there. Even the wall to disengage. Butler.
Ice Bear.
Oh, beautiful play there. Just absorbing the engage from Villanova. They were looking for it. Oh, the hook lands. He's taking it. You know Billy Bo's going for that, but there's the darkness already. Native takes him down. Ice Bear falls as well. It's a big shutdown onto the Native flashing forward. Can the Native carry the whole team? Uses heal to stay alive and gets a triple for the team. The Baron is up. This could be Villanova's objective. It's just Hoffenator and MGL left alive. Hoffenator, you haven't died yet. 708, will you go down now? The answer is yes, and the shutdown gold goes to the native. This Baron is Villanova's.
MGL is up and available, potentially looking for a steal, but it's not looking likely at this point. Level 12 to level 12 means that it's a pure 50-50 fight.
Oh no, they don't have vision.
He has no idea,
see him come there. Oh no! If he goes for this and gets this steal, Whimsical Melody, he immediately tries to force MGL off. They do get him away, and the Baron is secured by Villanova.
All right, so 24 minutes in, and we'll see this top lane play once again. Pixel Drum doesn't really have any support standing nearby. Whimsical Melody eventually comes on over to the fight. Imagine if that ultimate is saved for when Whimsical Melody is here and around. A great disengage from Butler. Iceberg just looks at somebody, and he's dead.
Yep.
There goes Gragas. Pixel Drum already gone out of the fight. And then when this re-engage happens, they just do not find the right targets from Butler, unfortunately. They go all in, trying to get Whimsical, doesn't get locked down. And when there's any time for Native to rip apart this front line, the back line, whatever, like there is no front line, just the line. Whenever he's able to rip apart this line, he is gonna do so in engage.
Return, there's another fight going on right now around the mountain. Drake, look at all of the members of Butler on the bot side trying to get onto Whimsical Melody, but there's Mac and Hoffenator on the top side as well. Cowboy gets out. Native is the DPS. Native is the carry. He gets a double kill for his trouble. Pixel Drum still alive as well, just trying to buy time for the rest of the team to join up. He jumps over the wall. Now Mac goes down. That's a triple to the Lucian. Hoffenator's caught out. Nowhere to go. Who's it gifted to? The quadra kill for Native. 192. And Villanova are right back in this game.
I don't know what to think anymore. Dragon's gonna be coming over. We see how that fight started. And it's initial engage, and once again, Orion ain't doing anything here, guys. You need to be pressing all your ultimate abilities onto this Lucian. He is at 9 kills. He is ripping you apart, and nobody focuses. He is free to do whatever the heck he chooses on the back end. And the fact that Butler is diving so far into the enemy base to chase the, 50 HP Pixel Drum away from the enemy team, that's really got to show you the kind of mind state that Butler's in right now.
Yep.
And it's not one that says, what is the most effective way we can play League of Legends? It is the one that says, kill, kill, give me kill.
It is panic for sure coming in. It feels like they're trying to force plays when they don't need to. And now Native.
This is genius actually in the mid lane. I understand what Crit's doing. It's 5,000 IQ. By not buying Zhonya's, he is constantly the target for Nocturne. He is the worm on the end of the fishing rod. So they just keep ulting him, and Native's perfectly fine. It's too genius.
You know what? I like it. And you even get the heal debuff by just landing a single ability on Nocturne.
It's insane.
Omega brain plays coming in from Please Crit in the mid lane.
My eye has been opened. I understand the world now.
Native 192 has an insane amount of gold.
Oh, yeah.
3 items completed. The BF sword and the stopwatch. Oh, look at that ward.
And
if that ward loses Villanova the game.
I don't think that's about to happen, but you're right. Native is so well built right now. He is the only DPS source of damage really in this game. So as long as Butler aren't able to blow him up, it is impossible to win a fight for Butler. Villanova, just keep him alive, and he will win you anything you put him in front of.
Ice Bear needs to be focusing that member in particular. Whimsical Melody just buying time. Ooh, that's nothing lands, but it's just on the Hoffenator. Having such a good game so far. This Nautilus absolutely popping off. Has died twice in a row now, though. Oh, here's the engage coming in from Pixel Drum. Do they actually want to go for it? Explosive Clash lands onto 2 members. They immediately pop Mac. A lot of the damage gone from Butler's side. A double kill as Ice Bear goes down, and I think that's gonna be it, everybody. Villanova push through the gold deficit. They push through the Nocturne mid, and they push all the way into Butler's base and will take the inhibitor. They'll push the minion wave up, and they will take the series 2-0.
I don't know what's happening. And of course, the one time that Ice Bear finally goes ahead and ults onto Native was the one time he finally picked up a stopwatch. And unfortunately, it's just too little, too late, as Villanova somehow take that series. And oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, we have been on a wild ride.
That was a lot to deal with emotionally, was a lot to deal with.
That was an
mentally.
emotional roller coaster for everyone involved. For us, the players, production staff, and for you guys at home. Get yourself like some ice cream after that. You guys have earned it for watching.
I think we all deserve
you deserve a lot of grub up after
chow
that.
down. Yeah, I think we all do. Butler put such a fight up, but they never stopped. They just kept fighting. That's all they knew how to do, and Villanova just won the crucial fights.
I don't understand. Like, okay, so there's so much to break down in that individual session. Like, so that was I appreciate what Butler was doing. They realized that they could not mechanically out execute Villanova. So they're like, all right, press buttons, win the game. But unfortunately, it was just that running theme. Villanova, I really don't think they looked that good today. This better have just been a hee-hee XD game. I really want to see what goes on for them towards the later ends of the season. But that was a game where they threw all the macro out the window, and they won because, once again, Butler beat Butler, not Villanova.
What I will say is this is some entertaining League of Legends for sure. And to help us break down what exactly happened in that match, we're going to send it over to Aiden.
Yeah, explain that one.
Well, you talked about how they couldn't really out-execute them. I think they 100% out-macroed them. Even if you can't go pound for pound in terms of the fights, just pick better fights, Forehead. You're going to see it right here. Now, the reason this fight, I think, works out really well, everybody saw what happened on the screen, but I feel like we should really pay attention to what's happening on the minimap. So let's start rolling this one out, and I'm going to point out to you a really big issue. You see this Nautilus? Look at the fight's going on. He's thinking about it. Wait, there's a wave. He's getting the wave. Hold on, don't fight, guys. There's a wave. Okay, now he's on his way. But the fact that now he's on his way, that's way too late. The time that he spent, he could already be in the tribe rush right now. He could already be in this fight, and he's the one who's fed. He's got 7 kills. He's 7-0-8 at this point in the game. And they're fighting because he's not there. That's why they decided to pick this fight on the side of Villanova. On the side of Butler, he's their main engage. He should be one of the people who's on that front line. And the fact that he just ran from base to the mid lane to clear the mid lane wave alone, I think that's actually absolutely unacceptable. That's a support, man. He doesn't need that gold. He should be with other people on his team. And I think that's 100% why that fight went the way that it did. And I think it's really big on the side of Villanova that they were able to punish that really small weakness there, because that's something that happens in other games where you see a support go mid and then nothing happens in the game. Nobody punishes it. But I think this is showing the level of Villanova where they see that tiny mistake and they just keep pushing and pushing. That's why the Lucian flashes forward, and that's why he goes for those kills, because he sees that mistake. And I think that's a really big point out there for Villanova.
Seeing the mistakes that the enemy team makes and capitalizing on them. That's what I think. It's another way to summarize what you're saying is Butler was playing themselves in a lot of those fights. Well, Villanova was adding on to that and playing off of what Butler was doing. So I think both fairly accurate statements, but Villanova, end of the day, 2-0, impressive showing from them. They lock in their playoff spot. Feels great for this team.
Yeah, I think the playoff spot definitely feels great, but I still think, like, when you're looking at these games, when you're looking at so much that happened, especially in game 1, game 2, I think they were starting to shore things up a little bit, but then, like, got hit by the truck of just what was that composition. I think it is acceptable for a little bit of that craziness in game number 2, but it is definitely shown that they are definitely the better team at the end of the day. They knew how to come together and pick those fights. They knew, especially for the native on the ADC in that second game, it looked fantastic once he was able to get to the end of that matchup.